Welcome to Travel On. Today we're taking an unforgettable journey to discover the 30 most beautiful islands in Europe. From azure shores to volcanic landscapes, emerald hills, archipelagos, we'll explore islands scattered across the continent, from the Atlantic to the Mediterranean, from Norwegian fjords to Greek sanctuaries. Get ready to fall in love all over again with the many faces of island life. Ready? Let's get to it. Mallorca. Of course, I had to start this list with Mallorca, one of those places that sticks with you. It's the biggest of the Balearic Islands in the Mediterranean between Spain and Africa. But what makes it so special isn't the size, it's the vibe. On the one side, you've got the rugged mountains called the Serra de Tramuntana, covered in pine and olive trees. And on the other side, beaches that go on for days, calm waters and sand that's so warm, it feels like it's been saving up sunshine just for you. There's a little bit of everything. The capital, Palma, has this massive Gothic cathedral that just kind of appears as you're walking around. But then you can also find quiet little coves where it's just you and the sound of cicadas. One of my favorite spots was Deia, a village tucked into the hills that made me feel like I was living a little piece of history. Mallorca isn't just a place to chill out, it's a place you melt into. Tenerife. Our next island is in the Canary Islands and is actually off the coast of Africa, but since it's part of Spain, it's technically European. Tenerife is a land of eternal spring, where cacti grow next to banana trees, and above it all looms Teide, a volcano and the highest peak in Spain. Teide paints the island with the colors of fire and ash. This island has many faces. The south is all sun and beaches, the north, moist forests and misty cliffs, and in the center, the alien landscapes of Teide National Park, where lava fields stretch under a piercing blue sky. Mount Teide is the third largest volcano in the world when measured from its base on the ocean floor. Tenerife is a continent in miniature, all wrapped up with the fragrance of salt and eucalyptus. Gran Canaria. Nearby is Gran Canaria. Like Tenerife, it feels like a bunch of different places rolled into one. In the south, you've got massive sand dunes, like a mini desert by the ocean. Heading inland, the landscape completely changes. Deep canyons, winding roads, and little white villages tucked into the hills like they've been there forever. Some of the towns really stuck with me. Because Gran Canaria has such a range of climates and landscapes, the weather and scenery change dramatically from one area to the next. You can go from beach to mountain to forest, all within an hour. Put this on your European island list. It's definitely worth exploring. Mont-Saint-Michel. Rising up from the sea like it doesn't belong in the real world is Mont-Saint-Michel. Walking Dead fans might recognize it from the Daryl Dixon spin-off series. At high tide, it looks like it's floating, and when the water pulls back, you can actually walk across the sand to get there. The walk up through the streets is pretty cool. It gets a bit steep, but when you get to the end, you're standing at this incredible abbey that's been there for over 1,000 years. Mont-Saint-Michel has this atmosphere that sticks with you, like you're walking through a place that shouldn't really exist, but somehow does. Definitely one of the most unforgettable places I've been, and definitely should be on your list. Capri. Capri is island life, Italian style. Capri isn't flashy, it's more timeless, a place where you slow down and let it all sink in. It kind of rises straight out of the sea, all cliffs and water so clear it looks like it's glowing. The Blue Grotto is the one everyone talks about, When you enter, the water suddenly turns this insane shade of blue, like it's lit from underneath. Take time to visit Villa Jovis, an old Roman villa where you can look out over the island and pretend you're Roman Emperor Tiberius, who ruled from this very spot for the last 10 years of his life. Capri is relaxed but elegant in a totally effortless way. Islands of the Venetian Lagoon. The islands in the Venetian Lagoon feel like pieces of a mosaic, which is why I didn't have the heart to separate them. Burano stands out with bright rainbow-colored houses lining the canals. Then there's Murano, famous for its glass blowing, where artisans have been turning fire and sand into amazing art for centuries. Torcello is ancient silence, where the earliest churches in the lagoon still stand. And all of these islands are just a short boat ride from Venice, but they feel like a totally different world. Torcello is home to one of Europe's oldest Byzantine mosaics, a 1,000-year-old image of the Virgin Mary that's still stunning to see. These islands are like the heartbeat of Venice. Definitely worth checking out if you want to escape the busy city for a bit. Sicily. Sicily feels like a crossroads of everything. Italy for sure, but you also catch hints of Greece, Spain, and even a bit of the Arab world in the food and architecture. It's like layers of history all piled onto one island, with Mount Etna smoking quietly in the background, like it's keeping an eye on everything. Palermo is loud and alive with colorful markets and people everywhere. Then you've got places like Taormina, where you sit at this ancient amphitheater with the sea stretching out in front of you. Agrigento's temples seem caught mid-ritual, and everywhere, the scent of orange blossoms, the sound of scooters, and that southern Italian light that warms even ruins. Sicily's not a place you check off a list. You have to feel it and let it sink into you. Lanzarote. Let's see. Black lava fields, red hills, caves formed by fire. Yep, this must be Lanzarote in the Canary Islands. But somehow, it's also really beautiful. A lot of that is thanks to Cesar Manrique, who pretty much shaped the way the island looks and feels today. His art is scattered across the island, in viewing platforms, gardens, and even restaurants hidden in caves. It's like the whole island is part art gallery, part sci-fi landscape. And thanks to Manrique's influence, billboards and high-rises are banned on Lanzarote. The island breathes freely, remaining one of the most ecologically respectful in Europe. Lanzarote teaches you that true beauty lies in harmony, even if born in fire. Ibiza. Ibiza, off the coast of Spain, is a paradox. It's wild and serene, loud and sacred. By day, the island bathes in turquoise waves and the scent of pine. By night, it pulses with music, lights, and the heartbeat of thousands dancing under the stars. But there's another Ibiza, the one of quiet coves, ancient Phoenician ruins, and almond groves in bloom, where locals greet you with a gentle smile and the sea slowly lulls you into a trance. Don't just come to Ibiza for the party, come for the rhythm of life, where every soul finds its own beat. Menorca. Also off the coast of Spain is Menorca. The sea here is calm and glassy, and the bays are secluded and fragrant with pine. White sand, turquoise water, and the soft rustling of leaves will be the only sounds to disturb you from your thoughts. The island's full of ancient ruins that are way older than I expected. These stone structures are scattered across the hills like little reminders of how long people have been living here, The towns are small, welcoming, and totally unhurried. If you're looking for somewhere to just slow down and unplug for a bit, Menorca is that place. It's not about ticking off a list of sites, it's more about just being there, soaking it all in, and letting your mind rest a little. Corfu. Corfu, just off the coast of Greece near the Albanian border, is an emerald cradled by the Ionian Sea. Unlike Greece's sun-bleached islands, Corfu is drenched in olive groves, cypress trees, and blooming bougainvillea. The old town feels like Venice set adrift. Pastel facades, arcaded streets, and bell towers. Every path leads to something serene. Maybe a monastery on a cliff, or a hidden beach, or a breeze that smells of salt and citrus. Corfu was never conquered by the Ottomans, so it has a uniquely Western European flavor in its architecture and culture. Corfu is a soft song, a melody you just can't forget. Lofoten Islands. Now let's head north to the Arctic side of Europe and visit the Lofoten Islands. In between these mountains are tiny fishing villages where the classic red houses are reflected in the icy water. In June, the Lofoten Islands are drenched in midnight sun, and in winter, the northern lights. The light changes the landscape every minute. Fishermen dry cod, eagles soar over the fjords, and the silence can be deafening. Lofoten is one of the few places in the world where the warm Gulf Stream influences the climate so much that despite its Arctic location, winter temperatures can remain above freezing. Lofoten is northern magic that you can't get enough of. Sardinia. Sardinia is wild and refined. Along the famed Costa Smeralda, yachts shimmer on emerald waves and beaches look hand-painted in white and blue. But just inland, a land of myths. Nuraghi stone towers, shepherd trails, and mountain silence. The island smells of rosemary and sea salt. The food is rustic and rich, cheese aged in caves, and bold wines. Sardinia is one of the world's 5 blue zones, regions with unusually high numbers of centenarians. Some say it's the clean air, some the lifestyle. You never really understand a place like Sardinia. You just kinda surrender to it. Malta and the Maltese archipelago. Malta is like an open-air museum. On a small piece of land, there are temples older than the Egyptian pyramids, knightly fortresses, Baroque cathedrals, and gorgeous bays. Valletta is the capital, built by the Knights of St. John, like a chessboard of streets and squares. And nearby are the islands of Gozo and Comino, quieter, greener, with underwater grottos and untouched beaches. The temple complexes on Gozo are some of the oldest religious buildings in the world, built 3,600 years BC. The yellow limestone of the buildings shines in the sun and seems to reflect memories of the ages. Malta is a living history textbook with azure water for its pages. The Aeolian Islands. The Aeolian Islands felt like they were just tossed into the sea by some giant volcano god or something. Each one has its own style. Lipari is busy and lively. Then there's Stromboli. The volcano there is actually shooting out fire pretty much all the time, even at night. The air smells like a mix of salty sea, warm lava, and fresh citrus, which somehow just fits perfectly. Along the coast, fishermen hang out, drying their catch and singing old songs, making it feel like you've stepped into an old Italian film. Stromboli erupts every 15 to 20 minutes, like clockwork, so people call it the lighthouse of the Mediterranean. The Aeolians are a place where the earth and sea still feel alive. Procida. Procida is this tiny little island tucked between Naples and Ischia and feels like you're stepping into a dream. The pastel-colored houses just swarm down the hills right into the sea, and the best part? No crowds, no cruise ships, just you, the water, and the soft ringing of bells in the distance. I loved seeing the older ladies sitting outside their homes, knitting and chatting like they've got all the time in the world. And the air was full of the smell of fresh seafood and damp stone. It's one of those places that tells you to slow down, breathe, and just be. Culture here isn't some tourist show, it's just a part of everyday life. You may not know now that you miss Procida, but once you've been here, you will. Santorini. Santorini kind of feels like a dream. You see those classic white houses stacked on cliffs above the deep blue sea, with those blue domes popping against the sky and stairs that just keep going up and up. The whole island seems to glow with light, but there's also this wild story behind it. A massive volcanic eruption long ago that basically reshaped the island and maybe even inspired the legend of Atlantis. The sunsets are kind of theater. You stand right on the edge of the caldera watching the sun melt into the sea like liquid gold, and when it's gone, people applaud. Santorini is everything it's hyped up to be. It's like poetry you can walk around in. Ireland and the Aran Islands. Ireland's western coast is haunting and mysterious, and the Aran Islands are no exception. Rocky, windswept, green, and lined with dry stone walls, they seem carved out of another era. There are almost no trees here, but a lot of sky. Old people speak Gaelic. The sea sings at the shore, and the waves crash against the rocks as if they have something to say. The bicycle is the main transport here, and silence is the main sound. The Aran Islands are a place where the past has simply become the wind. Crete. Crete feels like stepping into a legend. They say Zeus was born here, hidden away in some cave with wild goats roaming the mountains. That same wild energy is still all over the island, in the deep gorges, the empty beaches kissed by waves, and the rugged coastline that just takes your breath away. One of my favorite spots was a Samaria Gorge. It cuts deep into the earth and feels like a secret waiting to be discovered. But Crete isn't just wild. It's packed with history. The ruins of Knossos are incredible. You can still see faded frescoes that tell stories from thousands of years ago when the Minoans were thriving here. Crete is this amazing mixture of nature and myth, vast, fierce, and something you don't forget once you've been there. Stockholm and the Stockholm Archipelago. Stockholm feels like it floats. A city of water, bridges, and light. But step beyond the royal palaces and cobbled Old Town, and a different Sweden begins. The Stockholm Archipelago unfolds. Over 30,000 islands, islets, and skerries stretching out into the Baltic. Some are home to cozy red cabins and saunas, others to nothing but birch trees and gulls. Here, silence is sacred. You move between sea and sky, past pines and rocky shores, under skies that glow well into the night. The Stockholm Archipelago is a place to disappear into beauty. Slowly, gently, deeply. Ischia. Ischia is the green heart of the Bay of Naples. Volcanic, warm, and alive, it's famous for its thermal springs, which have soothed tired travelers for centuries. Even the air feels medicinal. At the island's center rises the Aragonese Castle, perched on a rocky islet linked to the mainland by a narrow causeway. From its ramparts, the sea stretches endlessly, while in the hinterland lie quiet villages in warm mineral baths. Ischia was the setting for the first full-length color film ever shot in Europe, aptly titled Volcano. Rhodes. The island of Rhodes is a fortress of history. Its old town is one of the best preserved medieval cities in Europe, with massive stone walls, cobbled alleys, and the grand Palace of the Knights. But beyond the city lies a land of myth, where ancient columns rise over the sea and sunlight pours through pine forests. Lindos, with its hilltop acropolis and whitewashed lanes, is a must-see for anyone visiting the island. In ancient times, Rhodes was home to the Colossus of Rhodes, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Rhodes is where time folds in on itself, and every stone has a voice. Azores. The Azores are significantly off the coast of Europe, so much so that they're accessible only by plane or cruise ship. It's a group of 9 volcanic islands, all green hills and black cliffs, with lakes sitting in old craters and clouds that seem to linger. You can soak in hot springs, wander through fields of hydrangeas, and, if you're lucky, spot whales out on the water. I didn't realize how many kinds of whales there are here, but over 20 species pass through, including huge sperm whales. Pretty wild. If you're into places that feel off the radar and totally raw in the best way, the Azores are something special. Gotland. Gotland is an island in the Baltic Sea where the frozen north meets fantasy. Medieval Visby looks like a set for a movie about knights and princesses. Not far away are flowering meadows, pine forests, and a coastline strewn with stone formations. In the summer, there are armored night tournaments, open-air theaters, rose and craft beer festivals, and in the autumn, it's just you and the sea. Visby is one of the best preserved medieval cities in Scandinavia. Gotland is an island where history and nature merge into one big yes to life. Zakynthos. Zakynthos feels like summer made real. Turquoise water, white cliffs, and rolling green hills everywhere you look. You've probably seen photos of Navajo Bay with that old rusted shipwreck on the bright white sand. But the island's not just about that famous spot. There are sea caves that glow with this incredible blue light, and if you visit the southern beaches, you might even spot sea turtles nesting there. Zakynthos is one of the most important places in the Mediterranean for loggerhead sea turtles. These endangered turtles come here to nest every year. Zakynthos is a gift of light, fleeting and unforgettable. Mykonos. Mykonos feels like the perfect mix of chill elegance and pure fun. Those iconic white cube houses shine bright under the Aegean sun, and the windmills just spin slowly, watching over the sea. Walking through Kora, every little alley feels like it's straight out of a postcard. Colorful flowers everywhere, cheerful vibes all around. During the day, it's all about soaking up the sun and relaxing on the beach. But when the night comes, the island lights up with energy, like it's a big celebration. Mykonos is named after Apollo's grandson, and there's a myth that this place was the battleground where Zeus fought giants. Mykonos is beauty without effort, a breeze of freedom and white linen. Guernsey and Jersey. These islands are like two brothers with distinctive personalities. Guernsey is poetic, quiet, and green, where Victor Hugo penned some of his greatest works. Jersey is lively, with vineyards, markets, and beaches where the tide rolls out for miles. They are British, yet carry a touch of French elegance, bilingual menus, afternoon tea, and a baguette for breakfast. The air is filled with salt, lavender, and the rust of old ships. In Guernsey, Victor Hugo's home, Hauteville House, still stands, a true literary sanctuary. If you're ever looking for a place that blends charm with calm, Guernsey and Jersey really hit the mark. The Ionian Islands. Greece's Ionian Islands don't just feel like one place, it's more like a choir, with each island singing its own unique tune. Kefalonia grabbed me with its dramatic cliffs and pine forests, while Lefkada blew me away with beaches that almost looked like polished marble. Even tiny Ithaca feels special, like a quiet corner holding stories of Odysseus, with coves that feel like pauses in an old poem. Compared to the drier Aegean islands, the Ionian ones are lush and green, and you can really feel a mix of Greek and Italian vibes everywhere. And the sunsets? They're like the final note of an opera, held for as long as it can, then settles into the sea. Madeira. Madeira rises up from the sea with steep cliffs and lush forests, all wrapped in mist and filled with birds singing. Because of its volcanic soil and the fact that spring never really ends here, everything's always blooming. Orchids, banana trees, even these crazy dragon flowers. What I really loved were the levadas, the narrow irrigation channels turned into hiking trails that weave through misty forests and open up to jaw-dropping views. The capital, Funchal, is a lively mix of markets, old churches, and the sea right at your doorstep. Madeira is warm, fragrant, and full of little wonders waiting to be found. Corsica. Corsica doesn't choose between ruggedness and beauty. It embraces both. One side holds mountain ranges carved with gorges and pine forests, the other, coves of turquoise water and champagne-colored sand. To the north lies Bastia, with its Italian spirit. To the south, Bonifacio, a city on cliffs suspended between sea and sky. And at the center, the wild scents of maquis, thyme, and lavender. Corsica can be as quiet as morning or as wild as the winds that shape it. Corsica is the birthplace of Napoleon Bonaparte. Though he left as a young man, his name and legacy live on in every corner of the island. Corsica is an island that never panders, and that is its power. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. It really does help the algorithm push my video out to a wider audience. And look at my numbers. I really would like a wider audience. I hope to see you in the next video. And as always, until then, stay safe and travel on.